welcome back to the Sporting Blizzard Podcast. It's today, well, we have a lot to talk about, so I'm just going to introduce my co-host. It's my father, Tony. Say hello to everyone, Tony.
Everybody, how's it going?
Like I said, we have a lot to talk about, so I can't spend time on the intro. We have to recap some wildcard games. We have to preview some divisional games, so let's get into it. And let's start off with your Seattle Seahawks getting ran over by the San Francisco 49ers.
You know, it just shows that talent wins in the end. I mean, there were some issues in that second half, but playing a team like San Francisco at this stage for Seattle meant that Seattle could not make any mistakes, and they had to have a couple things go their way. And they made some mistakes, and they didn't have a couple things go their way, and that fourth quarter showed it. It also showed, though, that Seattle's on the right track, though, because you really didn't hear about Joey Bosa. About Nick Bosa very much.
No.
And,
You heard from Joey Bosa.
Yeah. But I think that the tackles for Seattle really showed that it was the right call to play them all year long. And the defense needs reworked. There is a lot Seattle has to do on the defensive line. As much as I love, Bruce Irvin, I think that he needs to sail off into the sunset. I would not be opposed to him coming back in some sort of coaching position, but he can't hold the edge. He gambles way too much, and it costs Seattle on big runs.
Yeah, there's a reason I said run over by the 49ers, because that's what the 49ers did. I know Purdy had good stats, but that entire 49ers offense was just McCaffrey and Debo just pounding it to the point that Seattle had to play the run, and then once you play the run, you got guys wide open, and George Kittle wide open is a scary guy. Very scary. So is Debo. Ayuk doesn't scare me as much, but they're loaded all over the place, and a lot of it just shows to you how a game plan can affect a team, can affect an overall game, and Kyle Shanahan's one of the best in the business for a reason.
One thing I will say is, and I've seen a lot of Twitter stuff about how, Tariq got abused in this game. And the only thing I'll say to that is he was playing on a messed up ankle. You could tell that it wasn't that he was missing on the coverages. He was just getting beat because he couldn't catch up. And that's unfortunate, but he'll be back next year and we'll see what happens.
Yep. Back when Lamar Jackson's your starting quarterback. Now let's move on. I'll be a dead man for that. But Chargers-Jags. Chargers charged it. They charged the game up.
The only thing I'll say is Staley shouldn't still be a coach.
So
they should have cleaned everything. You can sit there and say, well, they got rid of their OC and everything. They gave up a 27-point lead.
But there's a reason why. It's not just that it was bad coaching. The cornerback got hurt. I believe his name is Michael Davis. Am I saying his name correctly? Am I remembering the right guy?
So you split coverages. There are things that you could have done to offset. And why in the world, if you're the head coach and you've got a running back that is doing as well as your running back is doing, why are you not telling the OC we need to be running more, not throwing and missing and stopping the clock to let the other team get in? Ultimately, it goes on the head coach. All these coordinates.
I'll disagree there. You put the ball in your best player's hands. It's the old saying in basketball, put the ball in your best player's hands. I believe that in football. Are you going to tell Andy Reid to not throw with Pat Mahomes? No, because he's Andy Reid.
When you have a 27-point lead, Andy Reid is not going to throw almost every down. Do you know how many times the Chargers ran in the second half?
No. But they also knew their defense couldn't hold because they had changed their coverage when Davis went down. Trevor Lawrence is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL already. It's amazing how much he's leaped. This game's not on Staley. I know you don't like him, and I know a lot of people don't. I still think Staley's a good coach. I still think he's got a lot of potential. I still think he's the right guy in LA. Do they need to bring a new OC? I 100% think that. I don't think Joe Lombardi was the right guy to hire. If you remember, when he originally got hired as the head coach, he originally wanted to hire Mike McDaniels, but the 49ers blocked the move. I believe you get in the right OC there, they are different. They probably beat the Chiefs. They
So
beat the Chiefs week 2 if Herbert doesn't throw that pick.
Explain how the head coach allows his best defensive player to throw the helmet at his feet after he picks it up and handed it to him, and nothing happened.
Joey Bosa has always done that stuff.
There's no respect there.
You can say that, but players do that all the time. You can look up 100 sidelines that happens.
Where the player throws his helmet at the head coach's feet after the head coach picked up the helmet?
I don't even think he saw him there. I think he was just angry. Have you never been angry to the point you lose your vision?
He was handed the helmet by the head coach.
You're angry, that's not gonna matter. Are you telling me you've never lost your surroundings with how angry you've been? I have many times.
Not to that extreme.
Well, I still think it's fine, but this game was changed because of an injury, and the Jaguars took advantage of it because Trevor Lawrence is special. He is one of the reasons why teams openly tanked. You can say they didn't. No, the Jets and Jags openly tanked. That Jaguars team definitely tanked, and it's paying off in the long run. Now you have him a stable head coach. And we currently look at the Jags. We're going to talk about it. This is a team that is going to be dangerous in the future and going to be dangerous right now. With Doug Peterson calling plays for Trevor Lawrence, and I hope I do get his name right because I get him mixed up with his brother because I watch his brother play for the Gators, and Travis Etienne. I always get him and his brother's first names mixed up. They have the talent there, quarterback, running back. They have some receivers with Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and their defense is young and fast. Do I think the Jags going to run? No, but I think this is a very good sign for their future that they are not afraid and will fight back. Now let's move on to Bills-Dolphins, as this game was weird. Am I underselling it?
I personally think that Buffalo came out, blew their wad early because they were super, super hyped. And when Miami didn't fight back, they let down. Miami got back into it. I thought Miami played a heck of a game defensively. And, I mean, Waddle doesn't miss most catches like he missed in this game. He just wasn't good in this game. And if he catches those balls that he would normally catch, we could have been talking about an epic upset.
See, I think this is the game you just burn the film. I don't think it does not impact my thoughts on the Bills. Miami got lucky in a lot of those plays. A lot of those, just that fumble that gave them the touchdown, that shouldn't happen. It's a mistake. It's a fluke. Some of those picks literally bounced off Cole Beasley's hands. Like, that's a game you just burn the film. It does not change my thought on the Bills. The Dolphins, I thought, played the best game they possibly could with a not NFL-level quarterback, in my opinion, Skylar Thompson. They played the best they could. Their DC got fired, which I don't hate because I don't think their defense was good this year. And it just feels like it's because of the previous 18 weeks or 17 weeks, 17 games before the 18th game.
Well, hold on real quick. I'm gonna circle back. You just laid the blame for getting bounced in Wild Card Weekend on an injured secondary member for the Chargers. Josh Boyer was dealing with an injured secondary for most of the season, and he got canned. Yet you just used the exact same excuse for the Chargers.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence versus some of the teams the Dolphins gave up a lot of points to.
It's still
they gave up 40 to the Jets.
Yeah, I get it. And they gave up almost 50 to Baltimore. I'm just saying you can't use the excuse one time and then, not counteract. You can't do that. It's not cool.
No, because
I thought he coached a heck of a game. The defense was there to play. And Miami, they went 1-2 with Buffalo this year, and the point spread was 85-81. So, I'd say hats off to them. They're going in the right direction.
No, they're not. I'll get into this another day. No, they're not. I do not come away thinking Miami's going the right direction after this game. I come away thinking the same thing I thought of. They got lucky. That's a game of luck. And we need to talk about, they went on a 5-game losing streak with the defense giving up 33, 23, 32, 26, 23. Now, some of those teams, 49ers had a good offense. Chargers had some good offense. Bills, good offense. Packers have struggled throughout the year, and you gave up 23 points to Matt Patricia. This team has an issue on defense. It's clear their D-line played fine. Their edge rushers played fine. But they're not great. They're not going to get past Buffalo. You can say it was close. You can say it was close. They had some stupid turnover luck that's not going to give you every game. They're not going to beat the Chiefs because they can't beat Pat Mahomes. They're not going to beat the Bengals. And I don't think they can beat the Jags. So we're now looking at Miami in the same spot they were last year. Good, but not good enough. They're going to stay middle of the pack and have fun.
I completely disagree with you there. And guess what? We'll probably have a preseason bet going in.
And we'll have a long offseason debate.
Yeah. And I'll end up winning the bet because I usually do.
No, this Dolphins team. I wouldn't be surprised if they finish under 500 next year.
Yeah, you called that this year too, and guess what? You were wrong.
And how wrong was I? How far off was I? I was a game off.
When the starting quarterback was injured for, the latter part of the second half of the season.
He missed 2 games the second half of the season. 2.
He wasn't right for the rest of the games.
He wasn't right for the 3rd game. They still lost, and they didn't look all that great against competent teams in their wins.
Yeah, well, like I said, time will tell.
Okay. Giants, Vikings. How is Ed Donatello not fired yet?
One of the things that you'll hear, whether this is true or not, that teams that are switching to this defense usually make a huge comeback the second year. It's tough defense for the secondaries to pick up and for the linebackers. Do I think that he shouldn't be fired? It was brutal. I mean, it was brutal. When you let your boy,
Danny Dimes,
do what he did, I think that there was a huge problem there. And one of the biggest problems was if you know that your defense is that suspect, then your play calling should have been completely different. Their offensive line wasn't holding up as well against the Giants' defensive line, yet they weren't doing quick hitters or anything else to basically back everybody off. They kept on just trying to throw 20 yards out, and it's not going to work. They were just outcoached. And I'll say this because this is the one thing I was going to bring up for the Buffalo game, and it kind of corresponds with this game. Look at Danny, and look at Josh. And they did a complete 180 this year so far as taking care of the football. And I think you have to give it to the coach.
Oh, yeah. My favorite stat from this game is that Daniel Jones is the 3rd leading rusher in the playoffs. I thought that's hilarious. I've been telling you this for a while. I do not like the Vikings secondary. I think they kind of proved my point this past game. Because it wasn't even like Saquon ran down their throat. It was Daniel Jones throwing on them and running on them. If you told me the Giants won that game, I would have told you Saquon had over 100 rushing yards. How many rushing yards did Saquon have last week?
I don't know.
Come on, just take a guess.
I'd say 90.
Ooh, way under. Way under. As I pull up the exact stat, he had 53 rushing yards.
How many receiving yards?
56.
Okay. Well, they use him as an extension in the passing game too because they're screen plays and things like that. So
I'm going to ask you a second question. How many touches does Saquon get?
Just by your question, I'm going to say 17.
Lower.
15.
Lower.
Okay. I don't know. How many?
14 touches. They didn't beat you with Saquon. They beat you with Daniel Jones. And you look at the Vikings. Well, the Vikings played fine on offense. Now, the last play of the fourth down play, the throw short, he had some pressure. I saw a lot of people point out he had KJ Osborne possibly if he threw that. I'd argue you should probably, if you're going to force a ball, you should probably force in that spot because Hawkinson won't get in that first down. And side note, Hawkinson played amazing. He played amazing. It's just
he did.
Watching the game, it just never felt like the Vikings were going to win it, if that makes sense.
No, to be quite honest, and I picked the Vikings to win that. That's the only game I got wrong this weekend was this Vikings game, and I did get it wrong. But the one thing I will say is, once again, if you know that your defense cannot hold up, then you have to adjust your offensive game plan, and they didn't do it. So you say they didn't play bad on offense. I'll say they didn't play well on offense because they weren't doing anything to try to control the clock. And they needed to slow down what the Giants were doing.
Giants offense.
Yeah. Well, hey, guess what? I mean, you need to do what you need to do. But you just said Saquon had 12 touches. 14 touches for over 100 yards, right? That tells you right there that, it's crazy. So, yeah, they needed to do some different. And you know what? First year head coach in the playoffs. He made some mistakes. See what happens next year. The defense, that'll be their focus.
Yes.
So,
yeah. Now we have to move on to Ravens Bengals, which all of the juiciness to come from this game already. And I am so glad we waited to record because Greg Roman has been fired. Like, man, just icing on the cake. As a Steelers fan, did I enjoy watching this game? Yes and no. I had to watch the Bengals win, which kind of sucks, but I gotta watch the Ravens lose, which is awesome. Tyler Huntley did not play bad. He's not the reason they lost the game. I saw people saying, "Oh, if we had Lamar. If you had Lamar, you were losing." Tyler Huntley played a better game than Lamar would have against the secondary. Fight me if you want, Ravens fans. It's the truth. Now, what cost the Ravens the game? I don't know. Maybe stop running shotgun on 4th and inches. Or when you're going to go for the end zone, let's not extend the ball over. Get behind your blockers and run. This is not rocket science.
That was Huntley, and he made an error there. So,
Without that error, do you think the Ravens win this game? Because that defense played amazing against Cincy. And Cincy did have its injuries. Oh, real quick, we have to go back to the Vikings. Ed Donatel was just fired.
Well, there you go.
Could have happened like 2 minutes earlier, Schefter. Like 2 minutes earlier. But like the Bengals struggle with their O-line. I think that was very evident. The Ravens got after him. And just, I'm going to ask you, I don't think I sent you, did you see J.K. Dobbins' quotes after the game?
Yeah, you did send them to me. Here's the thing that I'll say on that. We don't know what would have happened if Lamar played because guess what? He didn't play. Okay? No ifs, no ands, no buts. You can make your predictions that, they were losing. Guess what? The Ravens fans can say that they were going to win. We will never know because it happened last weekend. What we do know is that you just fired the offensive coordinator that you brought in specifically designed for Lamar Jackson. Okay? That's what San Francisco did when they had Colin Kaepernick. They brought in Roman. He designed all these run option plays that worked for them and their style of offense. Now you're going to blame Greg Roman on the fact that they lost this game when, let's face it, Tyler Huntley is not Lamar Jackson. I like Tyler Huntley better. But your offense, the design of your offense is specific to Lamar's skill set, right? They didn't have an offensive game plan that actually was going to be effective, and they still played a pretty darn good game. He made a couple of mistakes. Cincinnati's defense is no joke.
No, that rush defense is very good.
Their defense played really, really well. I personally think that their defense kept them in the game, especially in the second half when the injuries started happening to Cincinnati's O-line. But we don't know what would have happened if Tyler Huntley hadn't put that ball over and he goes and just gets pushed in the back and they score a touchdown, right? Because it's a 14-point swing.
Okay.
Or even if they had to kick a field goal.
I have his quote right here. Dobbins and Huntley's decision goal line fumble. He should have never been in that situation. I don't get a single carry. I believe I would have put it in the end zone again. And there was some other stuff that I cannot find, but it was very, very aimed at the offensive coordinator and Greg Roman. And, is Baltimore better in 2023? That's the ultimate question with all these moves.
Well, once it's going to depend upon who's under center, and it'll depend upon the offensive coordinator they get, and the acquisitions that they make, because they need depth at receiver, they need help at receiver, and their defensive line, as good as it is, it's aging. I mean, they've got some decisions to make in the offseason, which will make it. And the biggest one, let's face it, is Lamar. I mean, you just gave Roquan $100 million. And so the only thing that I can think of for them, if they're going to do anything with Lamar, is to franchise him, because he wants so much guaranteed money.
Harbaugh said that'd probably be what's going to happen. So I'm just going to let Ravens fans, these are some of the guys you'd have to let go to clear space for a Lamar deal. Kevin Zeitler, he's a pretty good guard. Calais Campbell has helped your defense a lot. Chuck Clark, an important safety for them. Gus Edwards, your power back. Those are some of the guys you'd have to let go. Now I'm going to ask this again. Does this team get better or do they regress? Because not only would they be investing a bunch of money in Lamar, do you know how much the franchise tag would be off the top of your head?
Franchise tag for a quarterback is $32 million.
Thank you. That's $32 million you have to invest. Lamar has missed the back half of the season 2 straight years. Let me tell you something. The human body is not forgiving. Once you age and get older, your body breaks down faster. And Lamar's not as young as you think. But this just reminds me of... Oh, go ahead.
Just looking at over the cap, honestly, they have quite a few players that they could restructure their deals that will help them out immensely. I mean, just looking at it right now, Ronnie Stanley is slated. His cap hit this year is almost $24 million. Marlon Humphreys is almost $20 million. I mean, he's like $7,000 shy of $20 million. Mark Andrews, 13.6 is fine. Zeitler, but you can rework some of these deals.
I say cut Humphrey as a Steeler fan. Cut him. Don't want him.
If they cut him, their cap hits $32 million. They're not going to cut him.
Cut him.
Marcus Williams, his cap hits $7 million, but his dead cap, if they cut him, is almost $28 million. But they could rework that because it's in a prorated bonus. So, I mean, there are some areas where they could, rework some money and get it out. But honestly, you think about it, you have $43 million, almost 44 between Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey. So
And
I mean, they can do some things.
yep, and this team's going to be letting Marcus Peters go. I think that's obvious. Then here's going to come the
Um,
second question: if you do franchise Lamar, what do you do with Huntley? His contract's up.
yeah, I thought Marlon,
Huntley's an RFA.
yeah, but I thought that Peters was, I
Nope,
thought he was a free agent.
he is. He's a UFA.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he's a free agent. So they'll go into the draft. They do really well drafting, secondary. In the first couple rounds, there's some pretty good depth in the secondary. So
Yeah.
they'll pull out okay there. They always seem to.
And if we have any Bengals fans listening, like, why aren't you talking about the Bengals? The Bengals did what was expected. They beat the Ravens. And it's not wonkiness like we saw in Buffalo. No, they beat the Ravens. It was a hard-fought game. They did what we thought they would. Now, do we have something to talk about? Absolutely. When we get into Bills-Bengals, there will be. But they did what was expected. And it's the same old with the Bengals now, which, hey, you should be happy. We're not talking about how you guys messed up in the wild card round. You did what you need to do. And now, I'm just going to take a quick laugh. In my notes, I had this listed as Cowboys 49ers, even though it's Cowboys Buccaneers. To recap, what do you think about the Cowboys 49ers game we have to recap? Huh?
Age showed its ugly head. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
And it's not just Brady. Everybody's like, "Oh, Brady looks so old." That team looked old,
Mm-hmm.
and Dallas was so much faster. It was obvious. I mean, Jason Myers, the kicker for Seattle, just got extended last night. He's now the second highest paid kicker in the NFL, and he can probably thank Dallas's kicker for that, because Seattle was like, well, we don't know what's going on next year, but we need to have somebody that can kick the ball. So, I guess Meyer should be sending something to Dallas for that one.
I'm going to die laughing if the Cowboys lose because of a missed kick against the 49ers. I'm going to die laughing, and that's not a joke. The recap next week will just be me laughing over and over again. Yeah, the game happened. I thought the Bucs would win, but I think I overestimated Brady. Their line got beat up. Parsons is a game wrecker. They couldn't run the ball. They didn't have the time to throw it. And really, when I realized how out of depth Tampa was that pick in the red zone. Second I saw that pick, I knew the game was over. There was no coming back after that. Their defense played good to start, but I've been saying this, and hey, maybe people will finally realize, but I doubt it. Dak Prescott's the best quarterback in the NFC. He is the best. I know he's not fun. He's not flashy. He's not the guy that's a Mahomes. But guess what? The NFC doesn't have a Mahomes. They don't have a Josh Allen. They don't have a Joe Burrow. They don't have a Trevor Lawrence. They don't have a Justin Herbert. They just need someone who is good and can be a top 10 quarterback. Guess what? That's Dak Prescott. He played great football. Probably the best game of his playoff career, and I don't think that's a stretch. And they beat the Bucs.
I think Dak's biggest issue is he's sometimes very erratic. It's not, you can't just put on every game that he plays and just go, oh yeah, same old Dak, same old Dak. I mean, it gets boring, when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes, because it's
he's Mahomes.
He's Mahomes, right? There's more interesting conversations about Josh Allen, because he's had some regression this year, and he's had a lot of turnovers. He's still phenomenal, but the things that everybody thought were gone are back.
Yeah.
Herbert has some issues, and we don't need to even go back down this road about coaching or whatever else. So there's a lot of quarterbacks right now in the AFC. Personally, in my opinion, it's Mahomes and then Burrow and then Josh Allen. That's how I put them. Just because Burrow does not make the mistakes that Josh Allen does. Is Josh a better, more dynamic athlete? Absolutely. But I I don't know if there is an assassin that could be as composed as Joe Burrow is.
Joe Cool.
He's mind boggling. So Joe Cool.
So here, I didn't realize that people got sick of Mahomes until this year, until I still see people saying Jalen Hurts should be the MVP. Listen, Mahomes was the best quarterback in the NFL by a long shot. It's not even close. I believe he was the only guy to pass over 5,000 yards this year. Am I correct?
I think so.
Like, he's so special. And there's not going to be a second Mahomes. The only guy I can see, like, legitimately maybe giving him issues is Lawrence if he keeps on going the way he is. Because I think Burrow's going to have his issues with the Bengals front office. I don't think they're going to be investing in the team as much. Allen, as we just went over, he has the silly stuff. Everyone else is like, you're second place to Mahomes. And hey, everyone's going to be like, oh, you didn't win a playoff game. Well, who'd you play? Mahomes? I understand. It's like Brady and Belichick in their primes. Just going to happen.
Yeah, I'd say that you're right on that. Mahomes is something just uniquely special. But what you talk about Jalen Hurts, the way they designed that team, the way they designed that offense, and the strides that he made from last year to this year, he's definitely an up and comer. So,
with what I'm saying is not a direct shot at Jalen Hurts. It's not. Hurts played very, very good this year. And yes, Pat Mahomes was the only guy to pass over 5,000 yards. Second closest was Justin Herbert. But the difference in just... I view this as, when my team plays you, how terrified of you am I? When Jalen Hurts played the Steelers, I wasn't as terrified as him as much as I was of A.J. Brown. When Pat Mahomes has the ball in his hands, I'm terrified because I know he can get the ball anywhere on the field with just backwards spinning whatever. But we now have to move into some previews, and we kick it off with the Jaguars and the Chiefs. And I'm just going to pull this up real quick. Trevor Lawrence has never lost a game on Saturday. Do you see that streak holding up?
He's starting his summer vacation now.
What? Did he have flashbacks to Urban Meyer?
No, just for everything that we've talked about, I just don't see them beating. I don't see them beating Mahomes and crew. They've had a special run, but the problem is they get behind a lot. It takes them a half to basically to figure things out. The problem is if you let Mahomes get up by 2 scores or 3 scores,
you're dead.
You're not coming back because 1, he doesn't let off the gas, and 2, then you've got to deal with the defensive line that's just going to tee off on you.
Yeah.
And so I don't foresee that. Casey's going to come out. They're going to come out hot. And I think the first quarter, I think it's going to be a good game, but I'm thinking that Casey wins it by at least 10.
So I think it's I want to say right around 10 points. I'd agree with that. I think it's going to be a high scoring because I don't think the Jags can stop the Chiefs, and I have little faith in the Chiefs defense based off what I saw at the end of the season. I would hit the over if I'm betting on this game. That's the one thing I guarantee will hit. I don't know what the point spread is off the top of my head about Chiefs Jags. It's Andy Reid after a bye, so you're pretty safe going with that. Would it be amazing if the Jaguars won? Absolutely. The storylines would be amazing. You'd have the Chiefs dead. They can't play anymore. This would be the first time in his career that Pat Mahomes doesn't play in a championship game.
9.5 is the spread.
I'd maybe take the Jags. That's a lot of points in a playoff game. But I look at this game and I just think, you've come so far, Jacksonville. I'm so sorry it has to end this way. Because if this was Jags, Bills, and Jags, Bengals, you'd feel a lot safer about saying, oh, yeah, this game will be a one score. You got Andy Reid after a bye. It feels like it's hopeless.
I just think that they're too young and they make too many mistakes early on. And, you know, and the level of talent that they're playing right now and the coaches that they're playing against. So let's just go
I have
this.
a
Okay.
question. Because you would know this better than I would. Is this Andy Reid's first ever playoff game against one of his disciples?
I don't know, but I don't think so. He's had a lot. I mean, he's had a lot in
And
this.
with what I mean, I don't mean like defensive. I mean offensive. Because I know
No,
Harbaugh worked for him.
no, because Holmgren worked under him as well.
Holmgren worked under Reid. I thought Reid worked under Holmgren.
Yeah, well, you can say one way or the other. I personally think that Holmgren learned more from Reid than
Well, Reid is the best offensive mind in NFL history, in my opinion, so that does not surprise me.
The one thing I would say though is if you're going to stack coaches, right, that are left right now in the AFC in playoffs, okay, stack them, stack the coaches.
Andy, Sean McDermott, Doug Peterson, Zach Taylor.
Okay, now let's go back a step and stack the coaches if from last week. Let's go just from first to worst,
including the Chiefs or not?
Including the Chiefs, include just everybody that was in the playoffs last week.
Andy, wait, everybody in the entire league. Okay.
No. Just the
just
AFC playoffs. Just the AFC teams.
Okay. Andy, McDermott, Harbaugh. Okay. Peterson. Taylor. Staley, McDaniels.
Okay. We don't know about McDaniels.
That's why I'm just giving him because he's a rookie coach. That's
but you put Staley in the bottom position, right?
Well, I put McDaniels in the bottom position.
Yes, I know, but you just caveated that by saying we just don't know about him yet.
Yes.
So if you remove him because he has a caveat against him, you put Staley in the bottom position. Right?
Out of those coaches right now, yes, I would.
Yes. Okay. So what changes next year?
What do you mean? Who doesn't make the playoffs?
No. What changes from those just the 6 teams that we're talking about, right? What changes next year?
Okay. Chargers change their OC.
Change their OC, okay.
Bills may change their OC because Ken Dorsey's getting a lot of interviews.
Okay. But what I'm saying is who makes the strides and why?
Oh, Taylor Falls. So I don't think Taylor's that great of a coach.
So you think that next year Cincinnati is going to have a fall off?
When I say fall off, I don't think they'll be horrible because they have Joe Burrow, but I don't know if they win their division next year. I don't know if they win the AFC North for a 3rd straight year. And I look at that, and I think there are 2 better coaches in the AFC North than Taylor that we know of. And I like Stefanski more than Taylor, but Stefanski has only made the playoffs once, so I'll give Taylor the nod there. Taylor's had a better quarterback, but that being said, I don't think Zach Taylor is the type of head coach that can win 3 straight division titles. I think Joe Burrow's the type of quarterback that can. I don't think they have the right coach.
Okay, fair enough. But where is everybody else? I mean, is it so? You're saying that Cincinnati?
I can never take Andy Reid off one unless Belichick makes the playoffs. So
that's fair.
Andy Reid would be one. McDermott, I think, is one of the best coaches in the NFL, so he'd stay it too.
I agree.
Harbaugh will be very interesting. I do think he's a great coach. I do think he's a top 10 coach. I'll see what he does on hiring an offense side, but I feel confident saying he'll stay there. And Staley, it determines on who he hires as OC. I'll keep on saying that. If he hires the right guy, he will improve. If he doesn't, he'll probably be fired.
Okay. I don't honestly think that Zach is a great head coach, other than the fact that he lets his coordinators coach, and he has helped garner a ton of talent, and it'll be interesting to see what they do, So
it's hard to keep winning when you have two better coaches in your division. It's hard.
Not when your talent is that much better.
We also saw that they split with the two coaches with less talent, minus the playoff game, which the Ravens almost won.
I'm not arguing with that fact. They've got some work to do. They've got to bolster up that offensive line again.
Oh yeah, and fortunately that's our third game. But our second game we have to talk about is Giants-Eagles. Is Lane Johnson playing? Oh, and by the way, I take the Chiefs. Oh wait, there's one last question I had to ask Jack Chiefs. As a fan, because the football brain of us knows the Chiefs are winning. As a fan, who do you want to see win that game between Jags Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Why is that?
One, I like Andy Reid. I've loved Andy Reid forever. Two, I think that KC has a huge chance to get to the Super Bowl, and they have a far better chance of beating the team that I think that will be the NFC's, volunteer in the Super Bowl. And I do not want the NFC winning the Super Bowl.
All you have to do is hope the Giants win. They're pretty good at being undefeated quarterbacks. So I understand what you're saying. You're saying is completely biased towards you being a Seahawks fan and not wanting the 49ers to win Super Bowl. Now, as you said, I love Andy Reid as well. I love Pat Mahomes. But, man, I want to see Trevor do it. I want to see Trevor Lawrence beat the Chiefs. And do I think he can? Yes. Do I think he will? God, no.
Well, I mean, I wanted to see Seattle beat the 49ers, not specifically just because I wanted to see Seattle move on, but because the trolling that would have happened for the Seattle team that wasn't supposed to get, 5 wins this year to beat the vaunted 49ers that were a early preseason pick to win the Super Bowl. The amount of trolling there would have, been epic.
Yeah. You got the 5th pick from the Broncos. Be happy.
But reality didn't work out that way.
No, and Jags winning I think would be the most fun just because it also gives us something new. It gives us a new storyline. But I'm always down for Chiefs-Bills. I'm always down for that game. But we have to move on to Giants-Eagles before we go longer than we already are as I'm paying attention to the clock. Is Lane Johnson playing? Is this confirmed or not?
I believe they said there's a high probability he plays.
Eagles win.
I agree.
My whole thought on the Eagles is Lane Johnson playing or not? If he's not, I legitimately would have come on here and said, I pick the Giants. But he is. I'm picking the Eagles. That being said,
the one thing I'll say about that is, Thibodeau had a lot of naysayers in the beginning of the year, and in the draft process.
Okay, I still have a bone to pick with that one guy you told me that didn't like him because he liked NFTs. Say what you want about NFTs. I know everyone's got different opinions. If you will not draft a player because he likes NFTs, which are just virtual trading cards, you're an idiot. Summed it up there. No,
on to the next game.
Well, I just want to say one quick thing. If the Giants win, if my boy Danny Dimes goes to the NFC Championship game, I'm coming after every Cardinals fan that went after me for saying that I like Daniel Jones more than Kyler Murray. Now, Couldn't you say Kyler's maybe a better quarterback? Yes, but Danny Dimes is a leader, and Kyler is not. Or at least I'm running with that agenda because I don't know either guys in either locker room.
I'm going to tell you right now that the head coach has made all the difference.
I know. If you give Kyler Murray, Brian Dable,
you need to stop drinking whatever you're drinking.
Actually, I haven't drank in a while.
And let's just finish this up because now you're just talking silly.
Listen. Cliff Kingsbury is clearly a better head coach than Brian Dable. Okay, let's just stop there. I can't even say that with a straight face. No, I kid. Kyler's a good player. You don't know what he's like. I just like Daniel Jones. I've been a fan of him since the draft process. Sue me. Now, Bengals, Bills, this is probably the game of the week. Is that wrong to say?
What was that? I'm sorry?
Bengals, Bills is game of the week.
I agree.
Because due to unfortunate circumstances that happened the last time they played each other, which cannot be said enough how unfortunate it was. We did not see who would have won that game. Since then, the Bengals have lost offensive linemen. And the Bengals' offensive line has not looked good. Without Alex Kappa, who I texted you, I don't know if you're watching the game live. I said the Bengals missed Kappa because their line looks drastically different. Then Jonah Williams got hurt, and then it was drastically worse. And,
absolutely.
And I owe Dallas an apology. Leo Collins is not as good as I thought he was. He is not. And I look at this.
Well, Collins has been out for like half the season.
Yes, but when he did play, he was not good.
He's better than what they have.
TJ Watt wore him like a hat.
TJ Watt wears a lot of people like a hat. That shouldn't even be brought up in a conversation.
Micah Parsons embarrassed him.
Once again.
I'm trying to remember who they played in the third week. I can't. If Von Miller was playing, I'd say without a doubt Bills win. But Von's not. And then I look at the two quarterbacks. As you said, Joe Burrow is Joe Cool. When he has the ball in his hands, he's a cold-blooded assassin. He knows how to read defenses. He picks them apart. He is a dangerous weapon. Josh Allen is the second version of Ben Roethlisberger. And he's going to do good stuff, and he's going to do something stupid that's going to make you pull your hair out. But before the Dolphins game, he only had one interception in the playoffs. Josh Allen has historically played very well in the playoffs. And this game's in Buffalo. I believe Damar Hamlin will be in attendance based off everything I've read that he's in the Bills building every day now. I think with that added emotion, I think there's going to be something there, and I think the Bills win pretty good. I'm taking the Bills to win, and this is a different story, I believe, if the Bengals line is healthy. But with the Bengals O-line not being healthy, and I look at the other side of the field and I see the vaunted Bills offense, I have to take Buffalo.
I think the game's a lot closer than you actually think, and the reason why I'm saying that is because the Bills' defensive line minus Von Miller is not as good as Baltimore's offensive line or defensive line, excuse me. And so I don't think that they can rush Burrow to the level that Baltimore was doing it. And if you go back to the game that they played a couple weeks ago that they weren't able to finish, they were using quick hitters to move the ball down the field like it was nobody's business. So, yeah, the offensive line's an issue. I completely agree. And moving on, it can be a bigger issue. But when Burrow goes a 3-step drop and he's hitting Higgins or he's hitting Chase in the center of the field because the slot's trying to play him because Buffalo doesn't travel their corners, that's tough. That's tough to deal with. Jamar Chase is just too big and too strong to have a smaller slot corner play against him. And I just think that the game is going to be closer than everybody thinks. And to be quite honest, right now, the way the two quarterbacks are playing, I'm going to take Cincinnati.
Hey, It's gonna be a good game. And this, when I'm saying about the Bengals, I 100% think they can win this game. I think the Bills are the better team. That's why I'm taking them. It's gonna be a close game though, and when I say like the Bills are gonna win, I think it's like they get a touchdown probably with 8 minutes to go, and they kick a field goal with like 4 minutes to go. That's what.
So you just said you think the Bills are a better team.
Yes.
So I just want to offensive line. Who has it?
Bills.
Buffalo. Absolutely. Wide receivers. Who has it?
Cincinnati. But I don't think it's as big as gap as a lot of people would say.
Really?
I like Stephon Diggs a lot. I think that's a guarantee. I think Gabriel Davis is awesome. I think Khalil Shakir is going to surprise a lot of people in his career.
You really need to go check Gabe Davis's stats. Just going there. And don't get me wrong, because Diggs is just incredible. I'm going to say right now the tight ends are the way they're used are pretty spot on. Running backs. Who are you taking?
Bills.
You are drinking something.
No, I'm not, because
Joe Mixon is the best running back.
I think Joe Mixon is a good running back. I think he is the best in this game. But I look at the depth of the Bills. Devin Singletary, Nyheim Hines, James Cook, and I almost just called him Dalvin Cook.
I love Perrine.
P. Ryan.
Yeah, I love him.
You don't love him enough to say his last name properly.
Man, that doesn't mean anything. And then the quarterbacks in this situation right now, I think Burrow's playing better. I just do.
I think it's a split. I
can't take the defenses, I will take Cincinnati's defense over Buffalo's defense.
I'll take Buffalo's defense. Since he doesn't have those linebackers that Buffalo has. Those guys change the game. As my headset's falling off. Okay, we're at the 50-minute mark, so we're actually going to have to wrap this up, and we're going to have to get to Cowboys 49ers. So, do you have any last thoughts on this game before we move on?
No.
Okay, this is going longer than we both thought. Cowboys 49ers. This game's, I can sum it up. How does CeeDee Lamb do? Because the 49ers take CeeDee Lamb away. Dallas doesn't have that guy that can get open for Dak, I believe, against this 49ers defense. If CeeDee gets open, this game's going to be close. If no, sorry for the burp. If not, I think Dallas is going to have an issue scoring. And based off with how the 49ers will just find a way to run on you, I have a hard time seeing Dallas hold up for entire 4 quarters. I think this game can hold up for 2 quarters, but that third and fourth, I have issues. And these are kind of close to the exact same teams we saw play each other last year, and the 49ers ran over them then. And I'd say they have a better quarterback now. So I'll take the 49ers.
What I'll say is the only shot that Dallas has is if Micah Parsons can disrupt the play of the quarterback. If he can't get to the quarterback, because he's going to be coming up the gut. They're not going to be putting him up, on the edge trying to get in. So he's going to be coming up the gut. If he can do that, then they might have a chance, because the 49ers secondary has not been playing very well recently. And Dallas's offensive line has been playing better than a lot of people thought they would be this year. Their rookie tackle that shouldn't be playing has done pretty well. And so I think they'll be able to move the ball if they don't get too far behind.
Yeah, like I said, if San Fran takes away CeeDee, I don't think this game's close. I think Dallas needs CeeDee. And those boys in the 49ers defense, as many questions I have about their offense, I've been questioned throughout the year. I cannot question that defense. You can say who put it together. You can say it's a solid defense. You can say it's D'Amico Ryan's defense. Don't care. It's awesome.
Their defense is amazing. Who do you think is going to play on CD? Because Ward doesn't travel inside.
I don't know. I just oh wait, who's that one safety? I'm not pronouncing his name. I'm not pronouncing his name. You have fun with that.
Yeah, he's not covering CD Lamb.
Yeah.
He's had a huge fall off the last half of the season. If you think about it, he had 4 interceptions in the end of the year and he hasn't had one since. And he's been getting used a lot.
Well, how many do you have against Russell Wilson? It felt like he had 50 in that game.
So I think I think that the 49ers win handily. I'm just saying that if Dallas has any hope, man, Micah's got to be just crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this week. We'll be back next week, recapping the divisional games, previewing the 2 conference championship games, and maybe if we have time, this is a big maybe, we'll talk about coaches, because we obviously didn't have the time this week, and we would like to talk about that at some point. But thank you everyone for listening, and have a great day.